What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Mark Pitts, filling in for James Grande. This is the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook podcast. We are recording to preview the Thursday 6-game main slate, kicking off at 6:40 Eastern time. Mark, my friend, man, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Excited to get into this slate. Also excited that football's about to start.
Mm-hmm. We got a nice little kickoff of Thursday night football here. Detroit versus Kansas City. So we got to get the baseball slate out of the way. Before we do that, again, friends over at rtsports.com. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit. You can use that deposit match to take part in their DFS pick'em contest. Or right now, if you're watching, fantasy football season hasn't yet started. You have their fantasy football best ball, fantasy football championship going on right now. Have an opportunity to go take part, chance to win a $500,000 grand prize with their fantasy football championship. Mark, let's get into it. Talking about 6 games. Quick show here today. Some pretty interesting matchups, though. You and I were talking about it. Pitching on this slate, only a couple of actual viable spots here. Luis Castillo is the guy up over 10K at 11. Max Fried at 96. Eduardo Rodriguez at 91. Your top 3 price guys. How are you looking at these men on the slate?
It feels a lot like that slate we had a few weeks ago where you couldn't play anybody.
Right.
It's not quite that bad, but I like Castillo. I mean, the Rays are the Rays, but they're without Wander. They're missing a few pieces, so I like that spot. Fried against St. Louis. I mean, they have 4 or 5 bats that can maybe 6 bats. Yeah. I like that spot as well, but it does seem risky. I don't think I'd touch Erod.
No, Yankees have a top 5 offense and it's lefties, so that feels pretty dark.
That's the one thing they can do is give him a lot of trouble. And then after that, Griffin Canning. I think Bo Naylor is back, a lefty in the Cleveland lineup, but
yeah, Josh Naylor I think is back too for them. So they have
that's
both guys there. Canning, I mean, listen, we talk about it a lot. We've been attacking Cleveland all season long. I don't think we're going to stop here. Canning coming off of his best starts of the year against the Mets, against Oakland, so obviously a bit easier opponents, but 3 runs allowed total over 13 innings, but more importantly, 16 strikeouts during that stretch. Now, Cleveland isn't a team that strikes out too often, but if he gets 5 strikeouts in this spot here while limiting the damage at $8,800, you mentioned it already. After Griffin Canning, there really isn't a favorable target. I mean, I know that Pepio is going to get some looks here. Jorge Soler went on the IL today for Miami. They're a team that has generally hit lefties better than righties. He's pitched well. He's pitched 5 innings twice, 4 innings the other time. He did get up to 84 pitches at least. But Miami, again, it's an imperfect situation. He gets a win, can limit some damage, then he can get you the 15, 16 fantasy points. But usually you want more for $8,500. But in this slate, that might just be enough to do it for you.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the other options, he's going to be favored to get the win. So he has the win equity built in.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Rodon has talent, but he's been getting absolutely crushed. And the Tigers are not the scariest lineup, but I mean, maybe someone takes a chance on him, but I really don't see myself getting there.
Yeah, they obviously recently, I mean, you're the man that rosters Spencer Torkelson on our Roto League. You know how well he isn't playing. Kerry Carpenter, though a lefty, hitting the ball pretty well. So, Rodon in Yankee Stadium could be a little bit of trouble. He's got an ERA near 5. Obviously, he's got 11 homers on the year through 9 starts. So, could definitely not be a perfect situation. We're not going to play Garrett against the Dodgers. Assad against Arizona doesn't feel great. Now, Assad's coming off of a shutout performance against Cincinnati, pitched well against Pittsburgh. Could maybe find people going here, but, if everybody's in that lineup, Corbin Carroll, Christian Walker, that whole crew, it's not the easiest of spots. But again, on a slate where there isn't too much, Javier Assad could be an interesting play. We got to see where the wind is blowing when it comes to Chicago as well. Because if it's blowing out, we're probably going to fade that. 15 appearances for Assad this year at home, 3 starts. He's given up 18 earned runs, 6 homers, ERA 3.55, much better on the road. But again, limited starters, capable starters here. Could see Javier Assad get some love.
I mean, also Zach Little.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle's been bad against righties. Or not bad, but they haven't been great. And, I mean, you could throw him, but do you really want to go when J-Rod's hitting a home run or two every?
That, and he's going up against Luis Castillo. So if Castillo is the big favorite there, the win equity for little, like definitely not necessarily as great. But I do like that he got over 90 pitches the other day. So if he does roll good, that means they'll give him an opportunity. Not going to pitch Cal Quantrill. We're definitely not going to play Adam Wainwright. So recapping sort of our pitching slate here, I think we're in on Luis Castillo. We'll give Max Fried a look, but certainly Goldschmidt, Arenado, Edman, O'Neill, Wilson Contreras, like that'll get a bunch of guys that can hit lefties. It's not the easiest of roads there. I think Griffin Canning will be a lock for me in lineups. I think Pepio will get some looks, and so will Javier Assad. So again, 6-game slate, not a ton of great pitching options, but that's where we find ourselves going here. Just kind of moving across positions. We got Will Smith against a lefty in Braxton Garrett here. I think a lot of people will certainly look at that. We know Atlanta will be a popular stack in this game as well. All of them against Adam Wainwright. So finding a way to get Atlanta in your lineups today will be something that we should strive for. I don't know if it comes at the catcher position. You do have Gabriel Moreno here at 3K. Carson Kelly got picked up by Detroit. He had historically hit lefties pretty well. So if you're not in on Carlos Rodon, he's $2,900. And then Kisner actually is another Cardinal that hits lefties pretty well. And they haven't shied away from playing both Kisner and Contreras at the same time. He's $2,900.
Yeah, he's been productive even when he's hitting ninth. I mean, he hits a home run every other week or so.
It seems that way, yeah. So those are, again, some catcher spots for you. We'll see who is in and out of the lineup. Basically, every catcher for Detroit hits lefties. Haas, Rogers, whomever's actually Haas got waived and sent to AAA. I guess that's why Carson Kelly's now on the team. So whether it's Rogers or Kelly here, I think both could go ahead and run up against Rodon. First base, again, you have Olsen against Wainwright. You figure out a way to fit him in. We're there, but where else are we going outside of Olsen for you here, Mark?
I mean, you can play Goldschmidt. I like Fried, but Goldschmidt can get it done. I think my favorite would be Torkelson, just because Rodon has been bad, just really, really bad. And Torkelson's got, 2 home runs over his last 10. He had he was hotter before that. He had a stretch where he had like 7 in the last 10. But I still like that spot a lot.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think Torx is going to be an interesting play. Not many people probably play Detroit. So if you're looking to be a little contrarian, I think it gets it done. Ryan Nelson is also trash. I know Bellinger is $6,300, but 317, 975 OPS the last 10 games, 4 homers during that stretch as well. So after a little bit of a minor slump there at the end of August, really, again, picking it back up is Cody Bellinger. So if you can afford the cost, you can get there for sure. Some value options on this slate. Maybe DJ LeMahieu at 37. Nolan Chanel here at 34 continues to actually hit the ball pretty well for the Angels. Could find their way into some lineups for me.
Yeah, I also like what's Tommy Edman priced at? 42.
Yeah, Edman, at second against Fried, second in outfield eligibility. That's pretty nice. I don't mind that. Again, I don't mind. Nolan Gorman actually hits lefties pretty well. So despite being a lefty, so again, I wonder how many people actually play St. Louis against Fried. Could be, again, on a small slate, a good way to differentiate.
Yeah, if you want to get different, I mean, people are going to play the top 2 price pitchers, I imagine. So I'd like him more if he's hitting leadoff. Sometimes I bat him 9th. So depending on that, I'd have more interest in him.
At one point, Mookie Betts had like a 500 ISO against lefties. So Betts at $6,700. No signs of him slowing down. Can certainly get in the lineup against Braxton Garrett if you can figure out a way to make that pricing work here. Gleyber Torres against Erod, the way Gleyber's been hitting the ball pretty well lately, feels like it could be a target spot. And then Josh Rojas for me. I know you mentioned Zach Little, but Rojas gets in the lineups against righties and has been hitting the ball pretty well since coming to Seattle. He's $3,700.
Yeah, you could also go Brandon Lau, 44.
Sure.
Castillo's great, but he's had difficulty against lefties, and he's given up not a ton, but a good amount of home runs. So I like that spot as well.
Yeah, I can go Brandon Lau again on small slates. We talk about it all the time, right? Like I like to attack some of these chalky pitchers just in case. I had the 1%ers with the O's pretty much all those times, and
if he's 40%, I mean, you want the hitter at that 2%.
Exactly, because what's almost more likely, the hitter comes through for you every now and then, and next thing you know, you're above the field. So I'm full agreement with you there. At third base here against some top price guys, Ramirez, Riley, Arenado though does get a lefty, even though it is free. It's a smash spot for him. Christopher Morel against righties. We know the power numbers for him, and if that wind is blowing out, Morel could be a pretty nice play against Ryan Nelson here.
Yeah, he just he homered on Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that play as well.
Some crazy power for him.
Moustakas, I mean, you could throw him in the lineup.
Yep, against Cal Quantrill for sure. I'm trying to see value plays here. Maybe Kike Hernandez at 31 if he finds his way into the lineup against a lefty. Let's see. Anybody cheaper? Usually, the problem with these smaller slates is the guys that we've been going to for value aren't on the slate here, Mark. Right. So now you're like, I'm so used to finding player X, Y, Z down here, and they're just not there.
It's not there.
Always a little bit of a struggle. So I think I could probably. I mean, you mentioned Moustakas. Maybe that's the cheapest we run. Probably maybe Kike, as I mentioned, to 3,100.
Yeah.
So, anybody else for you at third?
I mean, just Madrigal from the Cubs. Sometimes he's hitting it. He's hitting okay if you want to get different, but I mean, I don't think I'd go.
Yeah, I agree with you. Shortstop position. Dansby's your top price guy. So it kind of speaks of what we have in short here today. I think for me, I look at Crawford or Rengifo. Both of them obviously hit the ball really well. Crawford, 3 homers, hitting 351 with an 1127 OPS the last 10. And then Rengifo here, 429 over his last 10. Switch hitter. Has hit lefties better than righties, but still, Cal Quantrill does not strike any amounts of fear into me.
Zero fear. I don't mind Volpe either. He's been good lately. Been really good. And 3,800, not bad.
Hits lefties really well, so I could get there. $3,800 for him. Amado Rosario hits lefties pretty well against Braxton Garrett at 41. Either of those two in the mid tier, I agree with you 100%. Some good options. I'm trying to see. Do we have any other value down here? Not really. We're not going to play Joey Wendell. Caballero probably doesn't get into the lineup. Hasn't hit anything lately, so it's probably it. The lowest we get to Volpe here today at 36. So
yeah, there's not much down there.
Yeah, RC at 2. I don't know if we mentioned it, but it gets Wainwright.
I mean, it doesn't matter who. You could play him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too. Outfield, Acuna at 68. We mentioned Betts. J-Rod 65. Aaron Judge versus lefty at 64.
Corbin Carroll.
So Corbin Carroll, sadly for my life, just left today's game after getting hit on the wrist. So
he might be out.
I mean, he left today's game with a wrist contusion, so I have to assume he probably gets the day off. Maybe he doesn't. Guy hurt his shoulder, was in the lineup the very next day, so maybe he toughs it out. But if he is in the lineup, I don't mind him against Assad for sure at 58. But talk about those 6K outfielders. How would you rank Acuna, Betts, J-Rod, and Judge?
I mean, it's Acuna always. He's got Wainwright on the mound, so he's like a step above the rest. But then, I mean, Betts has been killing lefties, killing everybody. And then J-Rod is like on another planet. Judge, I mean, E-Rod's been good. He hasn't been bad. So, I mean, you can always play him. I think I'd rank him below.
Last 4? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I think that's how I'd have them as well. Moving down into the mid-tier range here. Again, Ozuna just keeps homering, so can run him out against Wainwright. It's been the trend here. Don't mean to be repetitive, but you can play all of Atlanta. Harris and Rosario as well. Load him in, lock him up. It's a great spot here against Adam Wainwright in Atlanta, no less.
And even though Teoscar gets a righty, he's got 6 home runs in his last 10 games. So he cannot be stopped. And if you're using J-Rod, you might as well stack him.
Yeah, fully the player they hoped they were getting when they made that deal. Took a little bit there to acclimate to Seattle here.
Real slow start, but
turned it on big time for sure. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about Edman already, Rengifo. I mean, if you're playing Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe feels like a compliment to that as well. Just another lefty power hitter for Tampa Bay, possibly getting to Castillo here. Rosario at 4K. We talked about Lourdes at 39. It's pretty sweet.
I like Seiya. I mean, I like him every slate. He just doesn't stop. I mean, he's got 14, 31, 25, 10 in his last 4.
Mm-hmm.
Can always play him.
Yes, I
And
agree.
Ren Nelson is no good.
No. Jasson Dominguez is a switch hitter, so he can switch around, hit righty here at 35. Tyler O'Neill's we talked about, a guy that's hits lefties pretty well. Homered the other day, had 3 hits. $3,500, decent little value play.
Jordan Walker, you could throw him in there.
Yep, you've been in on Canzoni and Marlowe at times. They're both lefties here against Little, so Seattle maybe coming through with a little bit of a sneaky option for some here with given their bats, because again, Little hasn't been getting too many people out these days. Chris Taylor is another guy we like against lefties. He's $3,200. Homered the other day in his most recent outing, 892 OPS over the last 10.
Yeah, love that.
See if there's any obvious values down the board here. Not that I'm seeing.
Below 3K, there's not much in there.
Not much. We'll have to see if some lineups come out and any of these guys find their way into a favorable lineup spot or not. Like maybe Pat Pavin-Smith gets, he hasn't got a hit in 19 at bats, but maybe he finds a way.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
It could be.
Any day is possible. Make it a great day or not. Choices. All right, the pitching. Let's
shout out TMHS.
Yeah, start trying it out. I can make that joke because
I know the things.
Right. We wanted Griffin Canning. Where do we want to go for our SVP? Did we want Pepio or Castillo? Like, what were your thoughts here?
I mean, I think Castillo has the biggest upside, like easily.
For sure.
But 11K?
37.75 would be our pitching, our hitter cost.
Yeah, I mean, we can start there and we can switch if we need to.
Sure. Let's go.
Want to play Kisner? Oh, Moreno. We get Moreno.
Let's play Moreno first, and we'll see where we can go. All right,
they moved him up to 3K.
Where's our value here? What was our punt play? Second base, was it? Do we have a second base punt play? Rojas is
third. Rojas.
Yeah. Not really that cheap, though. Third base, we had Kike was shortstop, right?
I think he was multiple.
Yeah, okay. Kike was third. Yeah, Kike was third. But it takes us out of a lot. It's like we're basically just trying to find money to play Acuna here at this point.
We need some Braves.
We had Volpe. Yeah. All right. So if I just plugged Acuna here, that is 3,200 a play.
I mean, I still want to play Torque, but I don't know if we can fit him at this point.
I don't know how we're gonna. We might have to. Let's pull off against Steele. Let's go Pepio. He's gonna have the win equity here against Miami. That's gonna give us 4,100 a player. So that's with Acuna. That'll get us Rosario, Eddie at 4K. So that leads gives us 2 Braves. That we got a first baseman and outfield. You wanted Torkelson 47, a $3,600 outfielder to finish the lineup. Let's see. Anything?
I mean, you could throw Dominguez in there. He's 35.
Yeah, I like Dominguez. Dominguez is good. Let's see. Wasn't much else for value. That was a struggle, right? There just wasn't much else on this slate. So
it's tight. It's a tight.
If you want to play Ronald Acuna, you're gonna need some help. So we did 2 sort of mid-tier starts. It could be a reason why people get to like Javier Assad maybe now, because there's just, especially if Corbin Carroll doesn't play, that lineup becomes a little bit more appealing for Assad at 73. It would open up, your ability to at least get another bat in that lineup there. So, but for now, we have Griffin Canning, Ryan Pepio, Moreno, Torkelson, Rojas, Kike Hernandez, Anthony Volpe, Ronald Acuna, Eddie Rosario, and Jasson Dominguez. There, Volpe and Dominguez connect. You have Acuna and Rosario getting that matchup against Wainwright. Kike for some value, Rojas for some value. Torkelson, keep him hot against Rodon, Moreno for some value, and 2 pitchers there that are big favorites to get the win. We'll be back 5 o'clock Eastern time. Me and Colby Conway on the live stream, taking you into the Thursday slate. Get us on Twitter. Get on the Discord if you have any questions. Good luck, everybody, with your lineups, and we will catch you all later.